The Interlagos circuit is a 4.3 kilometer racetrack, run anticlockwise, located in the Sao Paulo district of Cidade Dutra. Its name literally means between lakes, and it comes from the fact that the region in which the district of Interlagos is located lays between two large artificial reservoirs that were built at the beginning of the 20th century. In the 1920s, Luis Romero Sanson, a British real estate entrepreneur, became involved in a project designed to expand the city of Sao Paulo with roads and houses towards the outskirts of the growing Brazilian city. The financial crash of 1929 hit the Brazilian economy hard, and Sanson's project could not go ahead, leaving the land he had bought for the project empty. The project also included the construction of a racetrack for the growing interest in motorsport that had spread throughout Brazil in those years. As a result, motor racing events continued to take place on temporary street circuits. Accidents were pretty common, with both drivers and spectators involved. In 1936, French driver Hélène Nice, at the wheel of an Alfa Romeo, was involved in a crash that killed 4 spectators on the grandstands and injured many more. This incident was the turning point that made everyone realize how dangerous street circuits were in those days, and the need for a permanent circuit became clear. Construction on Luis Sanson's land began in 1938, and the circuit was officially opened in 1940, with the 3rd edition of the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. The track didn't really have many facilities available for spectators nor for drivers, with the box area and the grandstands built only years later. Nevertheless, about 15,000 people turned up for the opening race. In the late 1950s, a novel layout was built by joining Raclau Corner with Junção. In 1967, the circuit underwent its first major renovation, improving facilities for the spectators' comfort as well as making the track safer for drivers. However, the layout remained pretty much the same. The track reopened in 1970, and improvements didn't go unnoticed. The circuit owners managed to host a Formula 1 race, albeit a non-championship race, with the first official Formula 1 race taking place 2 years later, with local hero Emerson Fittipaldi taking the win in front of his home crowd. In 1985, the circuit was renamed Autódromo Carlos Pace in honor of Brazilian driver Carlos Pace, who had lost his life in a plane crash in 1977, 2 years after winning the Brazilian Grand Prix, his only Formula 1 win. In the 1970s, Interlagos started to not fit into FIA and Formula 1 requirements, especially in terms of safety, and Formula 1 races in Brazil moved to Rio de Janeiro for most of the 1980s. Nearly 10 years later, costs to maintain a track suitable to host F1 races were very high, and the Rio circuit, also known as Jacarepaguá, had to withdraw from Formula 1. This gave Interlagos a chance to make its return on the international stage, and large renovations were carried out. New garages were built, and the track was shortened significantly. In 1991, local hero Ayrton Senna took one of his most popular wins in Interlagos. An emotional and physically exhausted Ayrton made his way on the top step on the podium, barely able to lift the trophy. Further changes were carried out in the 90s, with the addition of the S do Senna chicane in Turn 1. In 2018, an illumination system was built around the track to allow for night races to take place. The Interlagos circuit is one of the most popular racetracks in South America, thanks to its presence on the Formula 1 calendar, and it's one of the favorite races to go to for many drivers because of the huge passion the Brazilian fans have for motorsport. Many races on Brazilian soil became unforgettable thanks to the action on track, as well as the hyped atmosphere on the grandstands that only Brazilian fans can create.